So we're both involved in the Midshore Health Coalition, and we sit on different sides, I guess, think tanks, if you will, of each of the coalitions. So I'm on the business side, you're on the education side, and we meet, and they had just put a grant out, a grant application. And it was pretty wide open for different ways that you could collaborate to be able to impact health across the county. And we were just talking about different ways, and that's always been a segment for us that we've wanted to be able to target, especially us both being former educators. It's near and dear to our hearts to be able to give back to the schools and really be able to get in and spread this message, because it's important. And then John Queen of Bayside Hoyas, of course, has a very strong influence in our school system and a great grasp on the community, so we partnered up with him to be able to help us with the outreach piece. And we wanted to be able to target a group of students specifically that had a skill set that we could bring them into the kitchen, and they could start using some of the tools, knives and things like that. So we didn't want to start too young, but we also didn't want them too old and kind of disconnected yet. So we really were looking at the incoming 6th grade class at Kent County Middle School. We thought that would be great because, you know, they're on to a new experience in the middle school with their families. And what also is very important to us, because we do this as a family ourselves, is to include the whole family. So we didn't just want to bring students in, we wanted to make this a family experience. But we got to try it out.
Sure.
And sometimes we bite off a little more than we can chew, literally. So we figured with that small size, a sample size, 15 families that we can bring in, very targeted at the 6th grade level for incoming students. So they've already got a lot of good things going on next year. So, you know, let's kind of bring them together as a little cohort this summer. And then if all goes well, we can secure additional funding, use this as a pilot program, be able to follow them through their middle school experience. So we're really excited to be able to have that type of data to be able to talk about what that looks like.
And one of the things we've always used, and this has been for years, as a teaching vehicle, and one thing we're very focused on is we realize that, you know, we eat strange foods, we do all sorts of things with strange foods from around the world, but we realize that in order to make a real impact, we have to address the foods that people are going to eat every day or every week or every month. And you know, one of the things that we focus on our family, one of the things we focus our research here on, and one of the things we focus the food production downstairs at the Modern Stone Age Kitchen on, is taking real familiar food and just making it as healthy as nourishing as it can be. And a lot of times we use pizza as a teaching tool. And the great thing about pizza is a lot of the stuff that we focus on, fermented grains like sourdough, making things from scratch like cheese, fermented dairy, nose to tail butchering, making sausage, salami, that sort of thing. It all presents on a pizza, and a pizza is a very familiar thing to so many people. People love it, kids love it, adults love it. People think they know pizza, but you know, until you really know pizza is a different thing. But it is a great sort of entryway, very safe, comfortable entryway to get people to start talking and experiencing what real, true, genuine, traditional, healthy, nourishing food is like. And then once that's established, then we can break things down and dive a little deeper. It's one thing to say, don't eat this, don't eat this, don't eat this, but then you're left with a whole bunch of, I shouldn't do this, but what do I do? And there's also, in many cases, you know, really good, healthy, nourishing food to go and buy it finished is there's an economic barrier there sometimes. Like, it's incredibly expensive to get real food. But that combination of, you know, getting people to understand what real food tastes and smells and feels like, and how you feel after consuming it, and then bringing people in, showing them how to make things from scratch. The raw ingredients aren't always as expensive as the finished product, and you learn a lot by learning how to make it, and you also are able to sometimes get over that economic barrier because you can buy the raw ingredient and make something better than you could ever buy it anyhow. So that bringing people together and the cooking piece is really, really important.
So a couple things we're trying to hit with that too is reaching people where they are. So one would be them coming in, but also for the classes knowing that transportation could be an issue and things like that. So we're also going to offer the classes in one evening at 2 different time frames. So just depending on work schedules, I think it's like a 5 to 6:30 and like a one after that later. And then at the end of every class, not only will they get our recipes, and it's the recipes we use downstairs at the Modern Stone Age Kitchen. And we want people to be able to make these things at home too, because it's really important for a family to get around the table and cook together too. But the other piece is we're going to provide them with food afterwards. So when they do the sourdough class, they're going to take home sourdough bread to be able to make sandwiches that week. So it's not just here it is, you know, they'll take a loaf home that night to bake off, but they're also going to be provided, and that's through the grant, that we'll be able to provide them with food every week. So if it is a family who isn't able to get here, the Bayside Hoyas is going to help us with transportation to get the food out to those families.
And the content is going to be digitally recorded so they can access it at home as well.
And then they can watch it again. So if they want to see him shape bread, you know, 20 20 times to make sure they get it right, or how we chop up the veg for the sauerkraut. When we do that class later, they'll have access. So we're really trying to make sure it's very holistic. So not only are they going to eat it, they're going to enjoy it, then we're going to teach them about it, they'll get the recipes to do it, they're also going to get food to be able to take home. Those classes will be recorded and they'll be able to watch them, at a later time with their family too.